Trump is now threatening to use this shutdown as a means to enforce Project 2025? Well, it is the last couple of months of 2025, so we better chop. There is nothing funny about this. He just said, I have a meeting today with Russ Vought, he of Project 2025 fame, to determine which of the many Democrat agencies, most of which are a political scam, he recommends to be cut, and whether or not those cuts will be temporary or permanent. Well, yeah, I mean, Russ Vought is Trump's director of the Office of Management and Budget, and he did write a section in Project 2025 specifically on how the president needs to regain his power over the executive branch, which has become run by a bunch of unelected, unchecked government bureaucrats who seem to yield more power than anyone in Washington, which is a fair argument. First off, I thought Trump had no idea what Project 2025 was, and second off, shutdowns are governed by the Anti-Deficiency Act, which prohibits the government from spending money without appropriation unless those functions are considered essential. Yes, and the framework for deciding that is set by guidance from the OMB, which is led by Russ Vought, and he works in collaboration with agency heads to determine which workers are essential and which are not. Yeah, and the ones who are non-essential are not fired during a shutdown, they are furloughed. I mean, there's nowhere in the Anti-Deficiency Act or the legal interpretation of it that suggests a shutdown is a reason to do mass firings. There's an old Warren Buffett quote that says, only when a tide goes down do you discover who's been swimming naked, and that's a cool benefit of a shutdown. We can see who is essential and what's lost by temporarily losing the non-essential workers, and if it proves that not much changes without them and they were swimming naked, then why can't a bankrupt country, $37 trillion in debt, reduce its workforce and save the taxpayers money? First off, only about 5% of federal spending is on employees, so you ain't gonna make much of a dent in our debt there. Plus, we saw with Doge's firings that in many cases they overestimated the amount of nakedness and had to rehire many, which ended up costing the government tens of billions of dollars. Plus, federal workers still have civil service protections during a shutdown. Well, there are some things the administration can attempt in terms of RIFs and possibly looking at reclassifying certain employees under Schedule F to make them easier to fire. But look, private sector workforce reductions happen all the time, and after becoming leaner, companies often get smarter and more efficient. The permanent bureaucratic fourth wing of the government needs reduction, especially when your country is bankrupt. Okay, well, thankfully the courts stay open during a shutdown, so whatever y'all try will be challenged. And since we're talking quotes, Dr. Seuss once said, you will never know the value of something until it becomes a memory. I mean, do you think these non-essential employees sit on their ass all day? No, they're National Park Service rangers. They're IRS customer service reps answering tax questions for the elderly. They're merger review lawyers at the FTC. I mean, these are our fellow Americans. Yeah, again, this shutdown will give us a real-world chance to evaluate how necessary certain non-essential employees really are. And especially with AI, reductions are probably easier than ever before. Yeah, just like AI has replaced your need to get a girlfriend, huh? Bro, shut the fuck up.